Okay, let me give this a try. Okay, creamy potato and ham soup without the cream. I don't know. I think this is really, really good. Obviously, adding cream would add a little bit more richness to it, but it also add a few more calories. But I think this is great. With some of the seasonings, the thyme, the hot paprika, it just has enough. Already cooked ham with a little bit of kale in here. Well, hi, I'm Amy, so welcome to my little kitchen, Amy Roloff. I'm so glad you're here and watching the video. Anyway, we're in the middle of winter, but I think soup is good any time of the year. If you like that nice, comforting warmth of a delicious meal or food type, I think soup is good anytime. Today, we're gonna make potato and ham soup. Very similar to, I think, what I did, white bean, ham, and whatever soup, but we're gonna use potatoes this time. Plentiful of potatoes, and we had ham the other day, and so I'm using a bunch of leftover ham. If you still have the ham bone, makes excellent broth. Just put it in a little water, simmer it for about an hour or two, and then take the meat off the bone, and you can use some of that broth along with chicken broth or water or whatever, and that makes very good base to your soup. Like all of the soup, you have that thing, it's called mirepoix. It's the basic three, onions, celery, and carrots. So I have about a half of a white onion chopped up, diced up. I have 2 celeries. They were just like a little bit bigger than this piece, so I'm using 3. I'll cut up this one. I have 2 carrots diced up in here, and this is my 3rd one. So look it depends on how large your carrots are. If they're really small, you could even go from 3 to 4, but if they're larger, maybe 2 to 3. It all depends on, what you like. I don't think you can really go wrong with soup unless you have too much broth or maybe too much stuff and not enough broth. So just kind of eyeball it. But these amounts will give you an idea. Now, we're using potatoes. I'm calling this creamy potato soup, but it's not the creamy potato soup that you may be thinking of. I like little bits of chunk of potatoes in my potato soup. And I'm going to try something different here. Instead of it being more of using cream or milk based potato soup, I'm going to kind of use an immersion blender and blend up some of these tomatoes to create that creaminess, along with leaving some of them in their chunks. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 7 potatoes here, but I mean, look at the palm of my hand. These are kind of tiny. If you really have big potatoes, back off. Maybe you only need 5 of them. But these were tiny, and so I kind of wanted a little bit more here. So I'm going to test out 7 of them. If I think I need another one, here's another one. To give this soup a little more flavor too, I am going to saute and brown bacon pieces, bacon bits, and that will be my base to saute the onions, carrots, and celery, and then continue to layer this soup. And to me, it really depends on the kind of soup, believe me. French onion soup may be a little more complicated than the creamy potato ham soup that we're making here. I always like a type of green. I happen just to have a little bit of kale in my fridge. I also have a little bit of spinach, but I think this kale may be enough. But I tore it from the stem, and they're in little pieces. I chopped it up a little bit in little pieces, because by the time it softens up in the broth, it'll absorb some of that broth. But then you've got little pieces of kale, and not this big piece as you take a spoonful of soup. If you don't have kale, I think fresh leafy spinach works great too. Get some greens in there, get some color and vitamins or whatever you want to call it. And of course, garlic, you got to have garlic. In fact, I didn't peel my garlic here. Forgot to do that. So I'm having 3, maybe 4. But see, these are little cloves. So I might even have 5 cloves of garlic. Now, of course, this one's a little bit bigger. So if you have these size of cloves, depending on how you like garlic, 3 to 4. So I'm going to add a little bit of thyme. I'm not sure if I'm going to add a little bit of lemon zest. I don't know, lemon zest, just lemon to most anything, just adds a brightness and a spark, but I'll hold off on that. I'm not sure about that. And I love hot paprika. To me, excuse me, to me, it's a little bit different than red pepper flakes or cayenne pepper. It's got a little bit of heat, but I think it's more subtle than red pepper flakes or cayenne pepper. So we're gonna add a little bit of hot paprika in here. And of course, salt and pepper. So I think that is about it. I still have to chop up my ham, but we'll do that once I have all, and I still gotta chop up my potatoes. Oh dear. Okay, let me get this pan heated up over here so I can start sauteing and browning the bacon bits. Okay, I'm just gonna turn my pan on over here. There we go. I don't want the bacon bits to cook up too quickly, so I'm only going to put it on medium low, just enough to render the bacon, get some of that nice fat that'll add some flavor to the carrots and onions and celery and to the soup, but also brown the bacon. And I think by putting it on like medium low or maybe medium heat, I don't have to watch the bacon so intently. So I'm gonna finish cutting up my celery here. I would have to say this is one of my favorite soups to use for leftover ham. It's warm, it's comforting, it's not overly complicated. It's got some flavor in it, and I don't know, and it's easy to make. It's not, that hard. That's one of the things I love about soup is any recipe you look at it as giving you an idea, especially for the broth quantity and maybe some of the ingredients. But if you don't have celery, but you have something else that you may like in soup with the combination of potatoes and ham, use that. If you have leeks, instead of an onion, maybe use that. I don't know, I just like soup. You can, go with a recipe, especially when it's kind of something, I don't want to diminish the simplicity or the ease of soup. Simple can be very, very good. Very tasty and yummy and comforting and delicious. And sometimes the more complicated meals and stuff like that can just do the same thing, but it's a little more detailed. It's a little more involved, which I think can also be nice, especially for me. I just banged my garlic clove. Because it helps you know what the combination of other ingredients, how to cook them, and how the different flavors kind of all come together into this nice deliciousness of either a soup or a meal. So I think it all works. The simple and simplicity to the little more complex and complicated. So I'm just gonna slice up my cloves here. Just kind of mince them a little bit or finely chop them up. So I'm gonna finish doing the cloves, kind of check on my bacon, cut up the rest of the potatoes, and I'll meet you back here. Well, my bacon is pretty much done over here. And so I'm gonna go ahead and add in the onions, the carrots, and the celery, get that all going. Add in the garlic, continue to build upon those flavors. Add in the potatoes and then the broth, and then that's it for a little bit till the potatoes get soft and you're able to use an immersion blender to create some of that creaminess for the creamy potato and ham soup. So let me bring you over there. You guys will be able to see my messy kitchen as well. But here we go. That's all of our ingredients. And we're gonna head on right on over here to where this lovely bacon is cooking. There we go. My handle's hot a little bit. Sometimes using these ceramic pans aren't always the best to handle. But look at that nice brown bacon. And some of this bacon fat, which will add so much flavor. We're gonna go ahead and add in the carrots. And I'm not gonna add salt right away because the bacon does have some salt. And again, I got the bacon from my local meat place, meat butcher or whatever you want to call it. And so yeah, it came from that, the meating place. I'll go ahead and add in my celery. Can I chop all this here? So we're just gonna, there's one little onion I didn't chop up. Piece of an onion. So we're just gonna saute this for a little bit until the vegetables are tender. Might turn this down just a tad. I want to saute them. Saute them. Not saute. I want to saute them. And cook them until they're tender. I don't want to cook them so fast that they brown, but they're not tender. So with this amount of vegetables and stuff, we're gonna take, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 minutes. Just eye it, just check in on it. I'm gonna go back and cut up the rest of the potatoes. Okay, there we go. Okay, while the vegetables are cooking up there and before I add in my garlic, I'm gonna go finish up dicing up my 2 last potatoes, and I'm really hoping these last 2 potatoes will be enough. I think there's about 4 cups here. One thing I'm not great at, it's kind of eyeballing measurements. Especially when it comes to something like this. So, in order to ease my mind, as I put the potatoes in, I'll use a measuring cup just so I know for myself how much potatoes this really is. Maybe I don't need to use this 8th one. Nope. Little kale there. I'm going to load this up. Because obviously the ham is already cooked. So what we're really doing is just warming it up in the broth. And I'm going to make this into a creamy potato soup by using an immersion blender and blending some of the potatoes in that, because that'll create some of that creaminess. And if I do feel like I want to add actual milk or cream, it's only going to be like a half a cup, just enough for flavor or something. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut up the ham in bite-sized little pieces. One thing Chris loves about soup, he does not like wimpy soup. And what I mean by that, do not give him a lot of broth without anything in the meat. I mean, don't give him a lot of broth without anything in the broth. So, and I have had a tendency long before Chris to kind of bulk up my soup. I mean, that's the wonderful thing about soup. Go in the refrigerator, see what leftovers you have, and, you know, create your soup that way as well. I have made minestrone soup, which is a lot of vegetables. So if I have leftover broccoli or green beans or carrots and, you know, obviously onions, and then I go in my pantry. I open up cans of beans, and maybe, you know, if you got those little pasta, you know, add a little bit of that in there, and, you know, there's your vegetarian or vegetable soup, minestrone. One thing now, if you're making a specific soup, obviously like French onion or a curry soup or something like that, you know, those call for a little more specific ingredients. And you may not be able to necessarily wing that all the time. Oops. Oh, Daisy is lucky if she recognizes it. I think I dropped a little piece of ham on the floor. Okay, there we go. I think I hear my my bacon and veggies going on. I'm gonna just go over here and just give it a little stir. Yep, just a little bit more. But obviously, as you add the potatoes in there, you just want your veggies just barely tender, because they will continue to cook once you add the broth and the potatoes. I'm just dicing up this ham. Okay. Like I said, I want to a lot of stuff in my soup. But by adding a lot of stuff in your soup, you also have to make sure you've got some broth going on. So, I think this was where the bone was. Sorry, this is probably not the part you guys wanted to see. Okay. Get some of this fat part off. Okay, I think after this piece, we're going to go ahead and add in the potatoes. Chris is outside putting, because it's so dark in our backyard, just putting some of those decorative lights on around the awning part of our backyard. I've been wanting that done for a while, just so when we can go out there when it's a little nicer, still cold, but a little nicer of an evening, you know, we just have a little bit of light. Okay, let's head on over there. We're gonna head on over there, pick up my garlic here. Let's see, we're gonna put you guys right over here. There we go. Okay, this is what sauteing means. Look at that, great looking veggies. Some of them will get blended up, soaked up a lot of this luscious bacon fat, creates a lot of flavor to it. We're gonna put in the garlic. Just let that cook for a moment. I'll go get my potatoes. Again, I'm not ready to add the salt yet. And I know the potatoes will soak up a lot of that saltiness as well, and you might have to salt then. Okay, let's see here. Get rid of those bowls over here. Let me go get the potatoes. Okay, oh yeah, what was I gonna do? I was gonna actually measure and see how many potatoes I actually have here. Instead of just eyeballing it. Well, here's 2. Here's about 2 cups. There's about 4. So I have maybe about 5. Whoops. Get rid of these other ones. Get rid of these other ones before Daisy eats them. So I have about maybe 4.5, 5 cups of potatoes. That might be plenty. Just gonna stir it around a little bit. Just so it kind of just, I don't know, mixes in a little bit with all these veggies before I add the broth. Okay. Here we go. So we got 2 cups there. Whoops. I'm gonna go ahead and get another container because obviously 2 cups isn't enough. Okay. Okay, I got some more chicken broth or bone broth. I just used what was ever in my cupboard. So that's 4. I'm gonna go ahead and I think add 5 because once I get the ham in here, this is really gonna be soaked up. I'm gonna go ahead and add 5. There we go. And I've got a little bit more left just in case. So we're just gonna simmer this. This will probably take, I don't know, could be 20, maybe 20 minutes for the potatoes to become soft and tender and enable me to have my immersion blender in there to cream it up a little bit. So this is our potato soup so far. All right, I'm gonna cover that. Oh, sorry about that. Cover this and just turn up the heat just slightly. And then I'll see you back here in about 20 minutes. Okay, the potatoes are soft enough. I'm gonna use the immersion blender to kind of, you know, cream this up just a little bit, and we'll see if I want to add any cream to it. And if so, it may only be just like a half a cup. But we're gonna use the immersion blender. I'm gonna give it a little taste, add in the thyme, the kale, and the thyme, the kale, ham, hot paprika, hot paprika. Okay, let's see here. We're just gonna try and just do half of it. Like I said, I wanted to still leave chunks of potatoes in here. I don't want to cream the whole thing. And I don't know if you can see it, but it's definitely creaming up a little bit. Let's see here. Oh yeah, we still got chunks in there. Let's see. Oh yeah, we got a few chunks. The immersion blender definitely works. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and add, let's taste this. And I'm just gonna add in just a pinch of salt, maybe 2. I'm gonna go ahead and add in the thyme. This is really gonna be like, I don't know, at least a couple of teaspoons. Good flavor. Maybe a half a teaspoon of hot paprika. Stir that around a bit. And then we're going to add in the ham. Because we need to warm up the ham a little bit. Now, if you don't have an immersion blender, the only thing I would say is just dice up your potatoes a little bit more. Go. I'm just going to add in a little bit of kale. Yeah. And we're going to keep this on medium low or a simmer. We don't want to boil this to death. There we go. I'm liking it. Okay. Okay, there you guys go. It's not quite done yet. We'll just simmer it a little bit, but you still got some chunks of potato in here. They really blended well. So we're almost done with the creamy potato and ham soup. Just give it about another 5 to 10 minutes so the ham can heat up, the kale can break down and get soft, and I think we're ready to go. I think I'll just serve this with a nice good bread. Okay, see you in about 5 minutes. Okay, the creamy potato and ham soup is done. Let me bring you over here and have you check it out. Look at that. You can see the steam coming off of the soup. And look at this. I think it looks great. It looks delicious. You still got the chunks of potato in there. You use the immersion blender on some of it. It's got carrots and onions and a little bit of that kale with just a hint of spices. I think it looks great. And I hope Chris likes it too. So let me get my big ladle spoon here. Here we go. We'll just sum up. And I went ahead and just toasted up some bread and made a little garlic bread. I think this is going to be really good. And there you got it. creamy potato and ham soup without using cream. I'm just gonna put a little fresh parsley on it. And so here you go. I hope you give this a try. Check it out over at amyrolofflittlekitchen.com. Subscribe to amyjroloff.com. Anyway, check out this recipe and all of the others over at Amy Roloff's Little Kitchen. So thank you for coming into my kitchen. So I hope you keep gathering around your kitchen table and give this a try and enjoy. Okay, let me give this a try. Okay, creamy potato and ham soup without the cream. I don't know. I think this is really, really good. Obviously, adding cream would add a little bit more richness to it. But it also add a few more calories, but I think this is great. With some of the seasonings, the thyme, the hot paprika, it just has enough. Already cooked ham with a little bit of kale in here. I think it tastes great. So give it a try. Check it out over at Amy Roloff Little Kitchen. So from my kitchen to yours.